Hello everyone, my name is Alfaro and I support software development initiatives here at Prosive IT. I'm very excited to be following up on our third video in our Unlocking Software Development series. To recap, in the first video we talked about how software development can be used to solve problems in a creative way. And in the second video, we talked about the software development options and the scenarios in which those options apply. Today, and in this video, I will be diving a little deeper into software integration as one of the options that we can explore. So the first question is, what is software integration? One way to think about integrated software is as a practice of combining different systems into one main system. The different systems can be considered subsystems, and to bring the point closer to home, we can think of a system that captures our sales data, as an example, and an accounting system that tracks our invoicing and accounts receivable and accounts payable, as an example. Now, tracks our sales performance and our sales goals, sales projections, has a very important piece of the picture. It doesn't have the complete picture. And while the accounting system that has the actual sales and any pending receivables, the collections of those receivables, and how the business is doing financially, has also a very important part of the picture. It does not have the complete picture. How do we get a holistic view of the entire state of our business? This is where software integration comes in. Now, when we integrate software systems, we have several options. One is to build an integration module between those two systems so that whatever changes happen in one system end up automatically getting applied in another system and the other way around. Option two is we integrate the data so that any changes to the data on one system can be brought into a centralized data source, which gives us a complete picture of the state of our data. As with all things, there are many other options and many different ways in which we can apply integration to our software development, and context is always the most important thing to consider. For the sake of our video today, I'm going to show you how we can leverage a technology such as Power BI to integrate multiple systems and get a complete picture of how our business is performing. And by pulling data from multiple different systems, creating a centralized data store or data repository, and reporting or applying analysis on that data and generating reports, dashboards, visualizations that give us a complete view of how our business is performing. Before I show you the demonstration, I just want to walk you through examples of how integrated data can be architected and the different options that we could explore. Let's take, for example, this diagram that we're looking at on the screen. Let's take, for example, the application. We have three different systems that are storing their data in three different data storage mechanisms. The first system is storing its data in a SQL Server database. The other system is storing data in an Oracle database. And the other system is storing its data in flat files. We can use technologies such as Azure Data Factory to pull data from these three different systems or more, process that data, and apply some logic to how we interpret that data and organize that data. Then add business analysis insights on top of that data. And then store the data that has been processed in a different data storage mechanism. like in Azure Data Lake. Once all that is done, we can start generating our reports, very insightful reports, using a tool like Power BI, or even connect directly through Excel into the data source and start visualizing with pivot tables, charts, graphs, dashboards, and those kinds of things. This is a moderately complex setup, and there can be many more options which can be either more complex or much simpler. Here's another example. As you can see in this example, much simpler. We're using Power BI to directly pull the data from the different systems, model the data, and stage the data so that we can run dashboards, reports, charts, and graphs directly from within Power BI, and we can export the data to Excel or connect directly from Excel into the Power BI model to further analyze within Excel. So as you can see, even with data integration, there are several options that are available. And once this is done, depending on the use case and depending on the complexity of the situation, and depending on the requirements on the other end, once we have centralized our data, it makes it so much easier to get a single source of truth and get an accurate and complete picture of how our business is performing. Let's switch over to a Power BI instance and see what that might look like. So here's an example of a Power BI dashboard, which has multiple visualizations and some slicers on the left to help us filter the data on our dashboard. I'll show you how much of this works, but it looks beautiful, it looks pictorial, and by taking a glance at this dashboard, if we know what we're looking for, it's very easy to get the answers to any questions that we may have. But how do we get here? As an example, Power BI has the concept of data sources. We can pull data from multiple data sources at the same time. Our data sources can be Excel, SQL Server, it can be web-based, flat files, and more. If I click on more, you can see that Power BI has a whole long list of potential data sources that we can leverage to create our central data model. As you can see, they come in different categories. There are file-based data sources and then database-based data sources. Um, Many database platforms are supported here. Many database file formats are supported. And within the Power Platform, there are different ways of connecting into the Microsoft Common Data Service and related data storage mechanisms. We can also connect to cloud storage and online services as well, like Dropbox, uh, Google Analytics, and whatnot. Once we pull all this data from these multiple data sources, we can then create a data model that looks something like this. And the different uh, entity tables that represent our data can be connected and the relationships mapped so that Power BI, whenever it looks for data in one, it knows how it's related to the other. And when we create visualizations and reports and dashboards, Power BI is able to understand exactly what we're looking for. Once that process is completed, we can start creating our reports that look something like this. And what's even more fascinating, we can start filtering, slicing and dicing our data by different attributes, parameters, and the dashboards would be automatically updated based on the selections that we made. As you can see now, the dashboard only shows data that we have selected in our filters. There are other ways of doing that within Power BI as well. Um, within each one of these visualizations, I can also click on the visualization, and Power BI will update the entire dashboard to show me data that's related to my selection. The other things that we can do with Power BI once we have all our data centralized is to run analytics on the data. My favorite is this one, where we look at trends in our performance and we want to understand what's contributing to those trends. I can right click on this column in October and go to Analyze and select Explain the Increase. Basically, I'm asking Power BI to help me understand what contributed to the jump in the value of opportunities between September and October. And Power BI will run some analytics on the data, and it will create a visualization for me that looks something like this, which can be changed to suit my needs. In this case, I happen to like this one a lot better. And just by looking at this, you can see that the significant contributors to our increase are these sales stages: negotiation, decision, and pre-qualification. These three stages are contributing significantly to the value of our opportunities. And by looking at this and understanding how these are contributing, we can start making important decisions around how we can improve our sales performance for one area, or apply the principles that are working in another region in a different region. And as you can see, by doing things this way, we can save significant amounts of development costs by leveraging the systems that we already have and unifying the data and building a reporting system on top of that data to make sense or to get a view, a complete holistic view of our environment and our business performance. Now, under what circumstances would this kind of data integration be applicable? If we look at a situation like this, an organization likely has a significant investment in their sales tracking software. And potentially, the entire sales team has already been trained and have been leveraging or using this sales tracking software for a long time. And the cost of transitioning them away from that system as compared to the benefit that we would get with a brand new system, it may be too high. At the same time, the system that we are leveraging for tracking our actual sales may be working just as well for the business. And there's no value in trying to build a brand new system that combines these two. In addition, we may have a very good relationship with our existing vendors and providers for these software platforms. The only thing that we're lacking is they just are not talking to each other, and we just don't have a very good picture of how our business is performing. In a situation like that, it makes perfect sense to unify our data, centralize it, and leverage integration tools like Power BI that help us to get a complete picture of our business and make informed decisions based on that holistic view of our data. I hope that helps. And if you have any questions, please feel free to reach out. We're very happy to help you with your software development needs. Hope you enjoyed this video.